Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Steve.
I'm Laura.
And we've just finished playing Sentient, which is a game about robots in the future. The theme is a little bit loose here, but at the start of the game, you roll these dice and you kind of put them on the board here, and they kind of remain fixed like this for the rest of the game, except as you acquire cards, you can see there are cards in the middle which you acquire, they can potentially alter the numbers. So you can see there's a minus here and a minus here. When you get the card, it alters the numbers on the dice. Now essentially you're just trying to score as many points as you can, and the cards will get you points after you've acquired them according to the number on the bottom left, as long as you satisfy the requirement. So in this case, in order to get the 3 points for this card, the dice you can see on either side of this card have to be even. So that one's fine, but that one's not. But maybe when I get a card here, I can, the thing that's going to mess with this dice would make it work. So then you kind of look when it's your turn at the various cards that are on offer here, and you decide which one you want. So maybe I could get this card here. You kind of put a guy down when you're going to claim a card. And if I were to put this one, if I could pick it up in the spot here, then that would make this go down. But if it's a 1, it kind of wraps around. So this is actually going to turn over to a 6. And, well, that's good because it makes this one even. But it would make this one go up to a 3. And now I'll get the points if the sum of these two, 3 plus 6, is even. And that's not going to work. So I'm not going to get the 3 points here. So maybe I could pick a different card instead. So I could perhaps take this one. I put my guy over here instead. And thanks, Steve, just putting my dice back for me. So instead, this will make this one go up by 1. So this one goes to a 2. There's the 2. And that's good as well because that makes this one even. And this one will go down to a 1. There's the 1. And then the one on this side has to be less than the one on this side. 1 is less than 2. That's great. So I'm going to get the points here. And that was more points than the previous one anyway. So that's definitely the better card to get. Incidentally, when you get the card, if you decide you don't want it to make it go up or go down, you can actually cover it with one of your assistants, and then it doesn't do the appropriate thing. But these are useful for something else. When you put your guy out, you can also add your assistants, because at the end of the round, you get kind of area control bonuses. So after you've taken the card, another one comes out, and you keep taking the cards until you've filled up your grid, and then you're going to score the points as long as you satisfy the requirements. But then you look at where all these little guys and assistants are, and you're fighting over these tokens in the middle. You can see I've acquired a bunch of these throughout the game here, and they're going to multiply the number of cards you've got. So every military card, because I've got 3 of these things, every military card I get is going to be worth 3 points at the end of the game. You kind of stack up your cards and count them at the end of the game. So you're fighting for control of these things. So whoever has the most between these two is going to get this thing, which is going to make your transport cards more valuable. So you can see white, that's me, has got more than yellow, so I would take this. And whoever has second kind of gets an extra victory point if you like to help them out. But white, no one else is fighting white for this one, so I would get this one as well. That's great, that's another military one. And you kind of carry on going, fighting to claim these various things in the middle. At the end of the game, as I say, you'll get, well, you're scoring points throughout for these. These are the kind of points, but then you're also getting end game points for the number of cards, and the multipliers here, most points wins. What do we think?
It's nice. What they're trying to do is kind of, it's like a programming game. You're programming this kind of set of, I don't know what they're meant to symbolise. Your robots are programming things by which you live in, and effectively, if they do it right, you get some points for it. Each kind of type of card does a different thing. So some it's bigger than others, some it's about adding together, some it's just about making everything 2s or making everything 6s. It's nice. There's a bit to think about. It's not too thinky. It looks like a thinky game, and it plays in about an hour if we aren't going up to serve customers and stuff in between. But there's things to think about. So obviously, just getting a card that fits currently will then, when you put other cards next to the dice you've just changed, they're going to kind of, generally, it's nearly always pluses and minuses, the odd equal sign. So they're kind of going to mess it up. So you kind of want to use your assistants to block that happening, but assistants help with your area control. So you don't want to do that. You kind of want to think, okay, maybe I'll let this go down, hoping I can get a plus later on to put it back to what it needs to be. And the type of card you acquire as well. So obviously you start the game with, on your board, you start the game, so this particular board starts with a transport card, which means at the start of the game, every transport card I get is worth a point at the end of the game. Well, if I can get more transport cards and these transport kind of area control transport tokens, as effectively, then my transport cards become worth 2 or even 3 points each, which can kind of swing it at the end of the game, so you can just kind of ignore the area control and use your assistants to maximise the score each round, or you can kind of you do the area control, get those cards, and try and get cards of one particular type. I like it.
Okay, Laura.
I thought it was pretty snazzy. I'm having a bit of a brain foggy day and it wasn't too complicated for me, which is definitely saying something because most things are. But it was still something that I had to think about. It's a really pretty game, it was fun to play, and I ended up doing pretty well, so I'm pleased.
Rating out of 10?
A solid 7.
Okay, Steve?
Jonathan said something as we were playing that it's very hard to catch up once you're behind, and that is true. If you have a bad first round and then you get the hang of it, it feels like you're playing the rest of the game for no purpose, because it's very hard to kind of outscore someone who's kind of maximising their things with assistance. It's very hard to catch that a bit up. But it only takes an hour. There's enough there for an hour-long game. I think it's fine. I think it's 7 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, I think it does its job well. Really like the artwork, I like the theme. And the mechanisms are interesting. I found it much more thinky than these two, I think, for some reason. I just struggled each time. It's like, oh, well, if I get this card, that makes that one go up and this one go down. Oh, but I don't want that one to go down. Maybe I need to get this other card. But then it's the assistants that can block them. And once you get the hang of it, I think it's okay. But your first game, you're going to be like, which card do I pick? And I think my main issue is probably just if there are no cards that really help you, it's difficult to mitigate the kind of luck factor. So some people are like, oh yeah, this card's great for me. Oh, and now this card will work for me as well. You can take a pass action once per round where you kind of clear out the cards and get a new set of cards, and then potentially you can pick something better. But I found a lot of the time, and maybe it's just because I was manipulating my dice badly, that I was just struggling because the cards weren't coming out for me. But aside from that, I think it works very well and certainly keeps you thinking all the way through. I give it a 6.5. All right, thanks for watching. That was Sentient.